One of the movie's most famous lines was improvised. Which one? Hey, what do you hear? What do you say? My Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Google, plus your sister's ass, the Pony Express, Vic Dibitetto here. So, as most of you might know, this year is the 50th anniversary of The Godfather, one of the greatest films ever made. Now, I personally think it's the greatest movie ever made, but I know that's all subjective. I mean, there have been so many great movies made over the last 90 years. Even further, if you consider silent movies, too. And there have been so many great mob movies also. But for me, The Godfather stands alone for a million reasons. And I could sit here and tell you all the great things about The Godfather, the great performances and the great scenes and the famous lines and the beautiful cinematography and all that shit. But what I decided to do instead was to tell you 8 mind-blowing things about The Godfather that maybe you didn't know. Maybe this will be interesting. Maybe not. Do I give a shit what you like? Anyway, so here goes. Did you know that Marlon Brando used cue cards in every scene he was in? That's right. Brando insisted that reading his lines during any take increased his spontaneous acting and made his lines sound less acted. So cue cards were taped to lamps, bushes, cars, his desk, and even on other actors so Brando could say his lines without memorizing them. How about this? One of the movie's most famous lines was improvised. Which one?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
That's right. Richard Castellano, who played Clemenza, improvised that line after Coppola added a line in an earlier scene in which Clemenza's wife says, "Don't forget the cannoli." Okay, here's a mind blower. The horse's head was real. I know, who knew, right? And so were actor John Marley's screams. Yep, a fake horse head was used in rehearsals. But when the cameras were actually rolling, Coppola replaced it with a real horse's head. And Marley had no idea. Woo, that must have stunk. Here's another one. Did you know the words mafia and mob are never said in the movie? Not once. After a meeting with the Italian American Civil Rights League, Coppola agreed to take out those words from the script. How about this one? Sophia Coppola is in all 3 Godfather movies. Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, Sophia, appears as the baby in the baptism scene in The Godfather. Then, as an immigrant girl on the ship that brings Vito Corleone to Ellis Island in Godfather 2. And then as Michael Corleone's daughter in Godfather 3. By the way, she only got that role after actress Winona Ryder dropped out. And another, by the way, The Godfather 3 was awful. Here's one you might not know. Brando didn't stuff his mouth with cotton for the movie. That's right. He did do it for the screen test in order to make Vito Corleone look like a bulldog, in his words. But for the filming of the movie, he had a dentist make him a custom mouthpiece to create the sagging jowls. Anyway, all right. This one will blow away most people. Don doesn't mean head of the family. The bosses of each of the 5 families in The Godfather are referred to with the title Don. Don Corleone, Don Barzini, Don Cuneo, etc. But the actual meaning of the word Don in Italian really means something like respected uncle. Yep. According to Coppola, Mario Puzo, who wrote the Godfather book, simply made up the use of the word Don, and it stuck. In real life, no one in the mob was called the Don. And here's the last one. Lots of famous actors wanted to be in the film but couldn't get roles. Get this. Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, Jack Nicholson, and Robert De Niro all wanted to play the part of Michael in the film. Amazing, right? Now, De Niro, as you all know, did play the role of the young Corleone. But could you imagine Nicholson or Beatty in that role? But in all honesty, I could see Dustin Hoffman pull it off. Anyway, here's the kicker. Al Pacino didn't want the role. Pacino said in an interview, "I thought, how am I gonna play this part? No one wanted me except for Coppola." And that's that. there you have it. Now, I'm sure some of you knew some of these, but I wonder who knew all of these. Maybe now that you know all this other behind-the-scenes stuff, watching the movie for the 58th time will make it even more interesting for you. All right. Happy 50th birthday to The Godfather. For me, it's one of those movies that no matter where it is, if I'm changing the channel, watching it until the end, every single time, I wish the same could be said for my videos.